This is the Home Tech Podcast, show number 56, recorded on December 29th, 2011, almost the last day of the year. And we were talking earlier in the show, happy birthday to the Average Guy Podcast Network. On December 2nd, we celebrated a year. We kind of missed talking about that when it came around, but a little milestone for the podcast network. And, of course, I appreciate all the guest hosts who've joined me over the last year and worked with us to make this a fun podcast. So hope you've enjoyed it, and certainly I have as well. We, of course, always broadcast live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in today. Kind of a warm, we have 50-degree weather for December 29th, 50 degrees. I did a run outside. It was fantastic. So it's great to see some sunshine, although I know we are going to pay for it with some snow coming up here. You never get this stuff for free. Of course, we post the show every week out at theaverageguy.tv. You can contact the show, send me an email, podcast at theaverageguy.tv, and I'll always appreciate your questions or comments. And if you ever want us to cover something in particular, you can send me an email and we will talk about it. You can also follow me on Twitter, just at Jay Carlson. You can also find us on Facebook or on iTunes just by searching for the Average Guy Podcast Network. And if you're on iTunes, and this is really hard to do, and Mike, you've said this as well, it's tough to get people to leave comments on iTunes for whatever reason. And because I think podcasters don't ever go back into iTunes, or podcast listeners don't ever go back into iTunes once they set up the feed. Do you think that might be the case?
I think that's what it is. They never look back. They probably don't even have an idea how to find it again.
Yeah, you might be right, and so if you are out there and you see a place to leave a comment, of course that always helps with the search rankings when you do that. And we have all the links that you ever need. If you got a new iPod or an iPad or a new iPhone, and there were some 6.8 million iPhone and Android devices activated on Christmas Day or the day after, some ridiculous number. If you got some kind of new device, we have all the links that you'll need out at theaverageguy.tv, and you can get that content automatically, in most cases, automatically downloaded right to your device. Never miss a show and listen to it every week. Of course, you can join us live Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Pretty good time. We're in prime time, and come out and you can join us, theaverageguy.tv/live. All right, well, a couple of the guys that are normally with me every week, both Christian and Andrew, are off on holiday. We gave them a break this evening, and I brought in some of my trusty backups. Of course, a guy who's been on the show, John, you've probably made the show a bunch of times this year. I'd say at least 2 handfuls. John Zajdler, and of course, John is my partner in crime over at homeservershow.com. John, how you doing?
Doing good, Jim. Happy anniversary for your 1 year at the Home Tech Podcast. And congratulations also on the warm weather. You said 50 degrees.
50 degrees, yeah,
Jeez.
50 degrees today.
We got minus 16 Celsius today. They said hide out, stay in the house. Tomorrow It's only going to be minus 8, so it'll be half as cold.
What is that in Fahrenheit?
I don't know. It's about, well, I guess it's 16. It's probably 16 degrees lower than 32, because you at 32 is freezing, right?
Yeah, so you're in the teens, right?
Yeah, you're in the teens. Okay.
Teens Fahrenheit. So it's wow. Yeah, and that's kind of interesting how we can be so much warmer. We're not that much farther south than you, but for whatever reason, we're getting some beautiful weather. And it's going to stay. I've got 50 degrees to 55 degrees tomorrow, and it's looking like we won't even get back to the 30s for another couple days. I have a trip across Nebraska into Colorado tomorrow, and I'll be making that trip out to my brother's place in Colorado Springs. And so what a great day to travel across, although I think I'd rather be outside, but a great day to travel across the country. John, thanks for joining us tonight. You're always good at the last minute. Hey, can you join us for the show? Appreciate it.
No problem.
Another last minute entry, and of course Mike has been on the show a lot as well in this last year and has joined us here. Mike Howard, of course, he runs JPEG to RAW, the podcast over at jpeg2raw.com, and is all things photo. Mike, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great. We were 55 today. At least that's the temperature I had in my truck when I was driving home. 55.
It's perfect. That's perfect running weather. I went out we did a 4-miler outside, short sleeves and shorts. Yeah. And on December 29th, I was like, guys, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, I think we had our first below freezing night of the season. It was 28 degrees, so I was a little bit surprised at how hot it got, how warm it got today. But yeah,
that's pretty cold for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's more normal that we would have that temperature. 55 at the end of December is not necessarily that normal.
Yeah. It's a little colder or a little warmer?
is warmer than usual. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So some of us here in the United States are experiencing some great weather, John. Sorry that you're not. And then another guy who, of course, is over at Rich's Random Podcast Generator and has been at my right hand for a lot of the podcasts as well. And that's Rich O'Neill. Rich, how are you doing? And how's the weather there in your neck of the woods?
I'm doing well, Jim. And yeah, the weather, it was in the teens today. Steady, nice, cold breeze everywhere I was walking. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're out on the tip. You're out on the tip. You're not far from John, right?
Yeah, we're South Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maine. Yeah.
So you're getting the cold weather. We were getting some unseasonably warm weather, and it's kind of nice. I'll have to admit. And so it made for a nice Christmas. You guys have a white Christmas, John? Rich, you guys, either one of you have a white Christmas?
Yeah, we had some snow. But you know, what is it? It's on New Year's there that, everybody jumps in the water in the lake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know?
The Polo Club, right?
Well, they said, like I said, minus 16 today. Tomorrow is supposed to be only minus 8. So hopefully, as the weekend gets closer, it'll warm up. But the water takes a long time to warm up.
That water won't warm up very fast.
No. I've done some crazy things in my life, but I'm not going to jump into freezing cold water in the winter just because. That's too much. My kids took a trip down to Kansas City, and they did some. Kansas City's got these limestone caves that they've dug out and mined, and they make big storage facilities out of them. And this one in particular had flooded years ago, and they just kind of leave it, and the kids jumped the fence, went in there. You can do some canoeing, some paddling, and stuff. And I just thought, it's warmer in there than, it's probably colder that day than outside. But I was like, I don't feel like getting wet. So I stayed home. I wasn't feeling well anyways through Christmas. But I would not take the polar bear plunge. That is for sure. Well, speaking of taking the plunge, Christmas came and went. And, of course, we all took the plunge. I kind of wanted to go around the horn and ask you guys, how was Santa for you? And did you get any cool tech gifts that you either were or weren't expecting? John, anything Santa bring you, or did you? And it can include anything you bought for yourself. So
that's right. I was my own Santa Claus, so that's it. Well, you guys helped me get those Media Smart servers, so I got my hands on those. I've been playing around with them while it's been quiet. So that's about it. Just hanging around with those things, and I gave more gifts. Definitely, I gave more gifts than I got.
Oh, that's nice. It's better to give than receive, right? But it's pretty sweet to receive.
Yeah, it's pretty. I bought a lottery ticket there for 50 million there, but I didn't win. I'm doing a podcast, so if I would have won, I don't think I'd be here.
You're gonna call in Rich to the podcast if you win it, you'd stop being on the podcast.
Oh man, that's ridiculous. You'd have to do it. Just a philanthropic,
Yeah.
Heck, I would have a studio better than Leo Laporte's if I won it.
Oh man, would you build a studio like that?
I don't know.
That'd be pretty tempting.
What I say now, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, so John, the microserver, those are HP Proliant, right? HP Proliant microserver and 40Ls, just for folks. We've talked a lot about it on the Home Server Show, not much on ours here. Those have dual core 1.5 gigahertz processors. They came with 2 gig of RAM and a 250 gig hard drive, and they were $250, at least here in the U.S. $250, pretty good deal. You can't. It'd be hard to find a deal at Best Buy like that for just a regular PC off the shelf.
Yeah, it's nice to see that they're finally coming around to the States. That's it, because it was the UK guys for since September. They've been always getting these $100 cash back for those machines, and everybody's waiting in the US for for these cheap servers, and finally. But that's it, because one of the nice things is it doesn't include an OS, so you can put whatever you want on there. You can put Windows 7, FreeNAS, PFSense router. You can do whatever you want to those boxes. So you save because of not having to pay for the OS. Yeah,
and they have a 4-bay removable drive. 4-drive removable bay. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you can put the drives in and out of there, and it's a very cool little box. John, with you having 2, it's kind of nice because you've robbed parts from one to beef up the other, and you're really going to get a good run on those. And so for the $250, they've got a deal going right now, $299, same box. You get an OCZ 60 gig solid state drive. So you figure if it was $249 before, they were throwing in Windows Home Server before, but that's basically free at this point. So I always figure you get that additional OZZ solid state drive for about $50. That's a pretty good deal if you got $300 and you want to try out Windows Home Server and you got a TechNet subscription, or you want to do something different. It's a good little box for $300.
Yeah, I see. You remind me. There's a forum called the AV Forum. It's a pretty popular forum, and a lot of these guys are actually throwing, some kind of Windows 7 on there, and they're using them as media center boxes. They're putting all their, basically they're not really using the home server software. They're using Windows 7, but they're using it as a storage to keep all their media. And because at least with Windows 7, you have built-in Windows Media Center, and you have the home groups and all of that work. And so you can, once if you put all your content on that box, then throughout your network, on the Windows 7 machines, you can just use the home groups and start sharing all your content with everybody there. So a lot of these guys are working on that and updating the BIOSes and stuff like that.
John, are they going to raid? Are they raiding those drives then to the four? They keep one for the OS and put the others in RAID, or do you know the configuration?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff there. That's it. These guys are that's it. They're modifying the BIOS so that they can do some kind of changes with the RAID and switch to ACHI mode and it's all kinds of crazy stuff. It's so much different things to read there. It's
Yeah, well, we talked with Christian last night. It's too bad he's not here. He's out with family tonight. But we talked with Christian on the Home Server Show last night. He took a look at that BIOS for you. Of course, he runs bios-mods.com, and that's all they do is modify the BIOS. And it sounded like he had some pretty promising leads on some changes he could make to make that box even a little bit better.
Yeah, there's some hope there because that's some of the things. There's memory timing. There's something to do with the when you add the CD drive, it's actually runs by default. It runs at a slower speed, so you'd want to bump that up a bit. The sleep functionality doesn't actually go to sleep the machine.
Yeah,
so you want to be able to. Yeah, it doesn't actually sleep, but it doesn't take a lot of power. But still, you'd like to be able to have a couple of these tweaks going, and so some of these guys are working on it. Christian will have a look at it and stuff, and apparently from what I see is like HP even gives you like a bit of a software, and you can do like an online update of the ROM. So it's pretty cool that you hit a couple of switches, it goes online, it grabs the BIOS update, and then you can either put it in on a USB stick or flash it right away. Like they really try to make it user friendly in that respect. So
John, you haven't been super impressed with the processor, right? I think we just want to warn people it is a low power processor that is not necessarily the speediest thing in the world. So I get Skype running off of it. I'm actually using it right now. This video that you see is coming right off that box. So powerful enough to do this. As soon as I start the video like the Procaster on it, it just brings it to its knees. So, right, same experience. That's not a speed demon, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. If you're going to try doing some transcoding, while you're watching a video, and then you're opening and closing a bunch of windows and stuff like that, like as far as multitasking, no, don't do it unless there's a change. Unless you put the 8 gigs of memory, and I see a difference in that. But I did see a jump in performance when I went from the 2 gig to the 4 gig, but it's still not there. I would say it's about well, I guess my own rating, I would say it's about 75-80% of what I would expect it to be.
Okay.
So sometimes you want it a little bit quick, but again, it's a cheap machine, and if you're gonna once you have it all set up and like the dust settles, and then it's just sitting there doing its thing, whatever it wants to do, whatever you need it to do, then it'll run just fine. And again, it's low on power, so that's a great thing.
And I would go with 4 gig instead of the 2 that comes with the cheap model, and I'm in the process of buying that RAM, but. Yeah, good little box. We'll have a post either probably not this weekend, but maybe next week over at homeservershow.com. We'll put out the video that we recorded last night that has you breaking that thing down. So pretty cool. All right, thanks, John. Mike, Christmas, did you get what you wanted? Is there anything you didn't get that you wanted?
Can we count my truck as part of it?
You did get a new truck. How are you liking that truck? I mean, I know it's not super tech, but how are you liking it?
I was thinking asking my wife if we can move further away from work so I can have a longer commute in and home. It's the best part of my day is a drive into work and a drive home away from work.
Yeah, pretty comfortable, huh?
Yes, I'm still loving the thing. Although yesterday I did have to take the temporary tags off and put on the regular license plate. So it's I guess it's no longer new.
Was it painful to license and register that thing in the state of Georgia?
No, it wasn't. I actually went to do that yesterday, and I went to the first place, and the line was out the door. So it was probably a 2-hour wait. DMV is just,
Yeah.
government at its worst. So I decided to try another location close to my house, and I walked in, and there was only 2 people in front of me. I walked up, and I handed the lady my old license plate, and I went to get my insurance card, and she goes, "Oh, is this for the Tundra?" And I said, "Yeah, that's for Tundra." She goes, "Okay, that'd be $5." Handed her $5. She printed something out. I was done. I was probably in the place for the entire time, maybe 5 minutes.
Wow, nice. But you pay sales tax, right? At the point at the DMV there in Georgia?
Not sales tax. You pay a ad valorem tax once a year. So I'll be getting that. That's your birthday present. You got to do it in your month of your birthday.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm sure that tax is going to go up this year with the new vehicle.
Yeah, we here in the state of Nebraska, you pay a sales tax, which is 7 or 8% of the vehicle price. So it gets a little steep when you go to and you pay it when you register it.
We pay it when we buy it. When you bought the vehicle, you had to pay sales tax.
Okay.
And then and that's a one-time event. And every year you got to pay that tax.
You pay that at the DMV here in the state of Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
And they collect it, and so that DMV bill, I wish they just collected it when you bought the car and they included it with the price, and you didn't think about it that way. You get there and it's $2 or $3 grand, and you're like, oh, can't take
At least if you get it on your payments there.
Yeah, so here they add it to the price of the vehicle. So there you can do it separate.
Not here in the state of Nebraska. Yeah, you can have them do it, but you do pay that sales tax.
Do you guys sell a lot of vehicles in your state?
Oh yeah. You just get used to it, right? You just do it. Well, sometimes what they do, of course they've got the smart, and they fill out the sales tax form for you, and then that's included in the lending, and they give you that money to pay that, right? That's how they lessen that blow.
Yeah, that would be hard if not.
Yeah, it can be, but that's on all vehicles, not new but used. So you buy a $1,000 used vehicle and you're paying 7% or whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is, but we call Nebraska the tax me state, and they tax us on just about everything here.
Nice.
It's pretty brutal. So so you truck any gadgets, Mike? That
all of my stuff is going to be that I got for Christmas is photo related. So I don't know how much we want to go over that, but I did, skipping the photo stuff, I did get something that we talked about the last time Rich and I were on, I believe, and that was the Kindle Fire. I went into Best Buy. Oh, by the way, that's a place where my truck is not so awesome. Parking lots with bunches of vehicles.
Yes. You're a little hesitant, right?
Yeah. A big full-size truck is not that great in there. But anyway, went into Best Buy, and they had, the Galaxy Tab, the 10-inch. I think the smaller one they had too. They had the iPad. And those are beautiful devices, but they cost a lot of money, and I wasn't willing to spend that. So I looked at the Kindle, and it actually seemed to, work fine for me. I didn't have the issue that Rich was talking about, where maybe it's just the way I do it. I didn't have the problem when I would swipe over that it would go too far. It seemed to be working fine for me, and it seemed responsive, and everything I was trying worked pretty well. So I bought that and gave it to my wife. And it is, it's a little early because it's, we're only a few days away from Christmas to see how she likes it. But the one good sign so far is every time I see her on the couch or I come home from work, whatever, she's using the thing.
That's good.
And she's actually now she's going to keep her regular Kindle in her car and use that when she's out on the road, and keep her new Kindle Fire here at the house because it's Wi-Fi only, and the books sync between each other.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So she'll know where she left off.
Whisper sync.
Yeah, the Whisper syncs in the regular Kindle. The Kindle Fire that we have is Wi-Fi only. So, but when she's at home, she's got Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And she's able to go to Facebook and do some other little things like that. I also got my son the Kindle Touch. My youngest son got him.
How does he like that? I know that didn't get great reviews.
And I read those too, and I knew it's not the best thing. It's fairly cheap. I think it was like $99 or $79, whatever it was. But he's a 12-year-old little boy. How much is he going to complain?
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, he's got his first little book on it, and he's reading it, and he seems to like it so far. is better than anything he's had before. So I think, given his experience, it's a good device.
Mike, can you download and listen to podcasts on the Kindle Fire? Have you
That's
tried
a good
that
question. It does have an app store. It's not the regular app store that I'm used to on my phone.
Right.
But I think it's an Amazon app store. So
And it's
I'm interested
Android-based, right?
Yeah, what I should do is look and see if it has BeyondPod, which is what I use, or some
Right.
other podcast catcher.
Yeah, you got to check that out. It'd be interesting to see what the podcast experience would be like on that.
The one thing is it doesn't have a ton of storage space because I think it's meant more for using cloud and that kind of stuff. So, while my phone is filled with podcast stuff right now, she would have to have more limited.
Yeah, well, you could just have her listen to your podcast, right? That's the most important thing.
There you go. Yeah.
BeyondPod.
She can get the video large. Is that a Kindle Fire there?
I'm just looking here. It says, yeah, I believe it is.
Zajdler's
Somebody says it is. So
John's showing us something. What's that, John?
This is called this is a Canadian version. This is called a Kobo.
Oh yeah.
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 So it's a touchscreen. I guess like the Kindle, you got the one there. The screen's a little smaller, like a 6-inch screen, and then you got like a big black button that you use for navigation. This one's the 7-inch screen. So
That's e-ink.
Yeah, e-ink. So it's off, but yet you see it's cool. That's what's
Right.
nice about it. I mean, obviously you can't read it in the dark. You need like a light to shine. Unlike I guess the Fire, which is a like an iPad. Yeah, it's got a screen, whatever. It lights up. It's a light, but this one has Wi-Fi in it, and then I think it's got a micro SD card or something, so you can put some books on there. That's another thing I was playing around with. Is
that Wi-Fi, John?
Yeah, this one's Wi-Fi, but it's Wi-Fi like I think you can only connect to whatever the Kobo bookstore.
Oh, okay. So
You
it's
can't
like
just,
the Whisper Sync
Okay.
for the Kindle, which goes across 3G. That's the Sprint network it uses to.
And what are there, like 3 Kobo bookstores in Canada?
Yeah, just one big one probably. That's it. But
Rich,
I was using a software there that I installed on my server. I've been playing around with called Calibre or Caliber. Have you heard of that program for
Caliber.
Yeah, Caliber.
No.
I have
Yeah,
not.
you can download wherever you get your books from the library or whatever. Then you can put it on your server or whatever, and then I think that's it because it goes to like a web page. It actually tries to go to like their site, right? But because it's Wi-Fi and it goes through your internet connection, you could actually fool it into saying that the website is my server. So you actually redirect the traffic to your server, and then you have all your books. So then it can go through the books and pick what you want, and you download it to the device that way.
Yeah, a lot of the public libraries are offering that now, and I just looked that up this last weekend. In Nebraska, we have a service called Overdrive, and many of the public libraries are subscribed to that. I went out to download some audiobooks because I was going to listen. I wanted to see if I could listen to some on my way out to Colorado. It's a 9-hour drive, and I thought, well, I can get through a book or two during the trip. That'd be cool. And they don't have any available. I mean, all the books are signed out. So what that tells me is everybody's figured that out maybe, and it didn't, or the libraries aren't ready for the necessary traffic that's coming to them. But
all the digital books are signed out.
all the audio books are already taken, and some of them, like one that's based on that movie, The War Horse, is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
The audio book for that had 12 people waiting to.
That's what I found surprising is these audio books or these e-books or whatever. It's like, you mean they're out? Like, just
the
make
library's
50
only
copies or 100
No,
copies,
They're restricted. They can only,
Yeah.
the part of the agreement is it's like a physical library. They can only have as many as they've purchased.
Yeah.
So, Rich, you'd said you see that BeyondPod's available on the Kindle Fire?
I was just reading it was, yeah, I guess so.
Well, I'll be trying that out. Although my wife is a little reluctant to let me fool around with her stuff.
Okay, I bought it for you.
Oh,
I bought my son an Apple a Mac there for school when he started college, and he doesn't let me touch it.
No, yeah.
Let me
Dad.
back that up to the home server.
I think-
put Windows 7 like a dual
No, Dad,
boot,
don't touch it.
I think it goes.
Dremel, dude.
He knows you're a window. He knows you're going to hack it, John. That's what the problem is.
Well,
Yeah,
my situation goes back to when I got my wife her first, and probably the last time I bought an Apple product, the Apple iPod Touch, and I started downloading fart making machines and machine gun sound things, all those kind of stuff, and it loaded up her iPod with all those things.
Yeah, one of the first apps I downloaded for the iPod was Gunny from Full Metal Jacket, saying his little quaint little sayings he's got there.
Little soundboard.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen Full Metal Jacket, a lot of things that you might have heard, you'd be surprised. A lot of sayings, they're pretty colorful. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And they came from Gunny.
Well, that wasn't a funny movie. The first parts of that movie was some of the funniest of all movies.
Oh yeah.
That's really like two movies in one, that Full
It
Metal
is.
Jacket, right? You got basic training, and then you have them going to Vietnam, and that's a completely different.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so let's see, Mike. All right, anything else, Mike?
Yeah, no, just photo stuff that you guys aren't interested in.
Okay. Well, and if they're interested, are you going to talk about some of the stuff that you got for Christmas over at JPEG Raw?
We did.
You did already?
Tuesday. We did
All
Tuesday,
right,
yes.
So if you're interested in catching that content, head over to jpegderaw.com and listen to show number
22?
And is that out?
No.
Okay. Oops.
I'm doing this instead.
Nice. Yeah, I did steal you away from your editing time, so well, I appreciate that. So, but it'll be available maybe this weekend.
Yep, that's what I'm shooting for.
Good stuff. Rich, what about you? Did you get anything? Any cool gadgets? Favorite gadgets?
I didn't. I got a lump of coal for Christmas, man.
What?
'Cause I've been bad all year long, buying stuff all year long. No.
Yeah. I was kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, no, I didn't get anything, any cool gadgets for Christmas or anything like that. I just basically, I actually had a very good Christmas because this was a low stress year. I proposed to my daughter. I says, how about we take you out and you buy what you want to buy, shoes, clothing, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll stand at the cash register when you come up with whatever you come up with. She's like, okay, Dad, that's good. And then we did the same thing Monday because it's her birthday. It was her birthday yesterday. So Christmas baby,
Yeah.
December 28th.
That's kind of, that always, Christian's birthday is on the 22nd, and I always feel sorry for those guys that have their birthday around Christmas.
It's kind of a drag because, I mean, it's like you got the big holiday, then you kind of have your birthday and everybody wants to lump everything together. It's not really cool. So
My oldest son's December 31st.
Yeah.
How's
So
that
you
go for
guys,
him?
so you make an effort not to lump it together, right?
We do, but to some extent, he doesn't. He's never minded it because he does get the separate. Basically, his grandparents just give him cash because they don't want to have to worry about buying him something. So he can sometimes lump that stuff together and get a bigger gift. So he's always been okay with it.
Yeah. Well, then he's got to go all year, right? I mean, he gets some stuff at the end of the year, but then he got to go all year.
He's been okay with it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get used to it for sure. My birthday's smack dab. I mean, it's May 26th, so I'm almost completely opposite Christmas. So that was never a challenge for me. But I always felt sorry for those guys that got kind of screwed by Christmas.
Well, sometimes when your birthday is like, let's say, I guess July. I mean, July, the warm weather. When you're a kid, I guess it's not so much fun, right? When you're a teenager in school, it's like everybody's like at school, and then the summer's over, like school's finished, and it's like it's your birthday, and you're like, all you hear is the birds and
The crickets.
the crickets.
Some crickets.
But at least when you get older and you have your own place, then you have a barbecue and a pool and everything. So I guess.
Wait, we get a pool when we get older?
Well, hopefully you've already bought yourself your pool.
You don't
and your
want a pool,
barbecue
trust
and
me.
your
We've had a
friends.
pool. You have a pool now, Mike?
No.
Okay. And I know you're.
That's
in
what
a
I'm wondering.
perfect-
When I get older, do I get a pool?
You're in a perfect spot for a pool, but trust me, those are anything with water is just a mechanical nightmare.
Yeah.
And the kids enjoyed it the first 4 or 5 years, and then they kind of got tired of it, and we ended up taking it down and selling it on Craigslist, or giving it away on Craigslist. And
Oh, I was thinking of one that's built in, so you wouldn't take
that's
it
even
down.
worse. Those are more expensive and they're permanent. Rip that sucker out of your yard. if nobody's swimming in it. So it's tough. So Rich, anything that so you've made some purchases this year though that kind of limited you at Christmas time. Anything you're still kind of got your eye on that you didn't get? that you're thinking about?
No, not really. Well, I had my eye on the fire. I was thinking about getting that for my daughter, and I almost did, but after playing with it, and I'm glad I didn't, and I'll tell you why. I'm glad, Mike, it's working out for you, but one of my housemates here brought her. She got a new Kindle Fire, so she's showing me, and she says, "Well, hey, load up what is it? This Scrabble game, Words by Post." So I says, "Okay, I'll play you." So we played a game of Scrabble, and it took minutes. She has an iPod Touch, and she's got them side by side, and it took minutes and minutes for my play to show up on her Kindle Fire. Yes, we were connected to Wi-Fi, and it was coming in just about instantly on the iPod Touch. So, I don't know.
Hmm.
But she's already knows that there's something coming in the beginning of January, maybe another firmware update or something. So,
Nice.
Yeah, I imagine they'll keep improving the firmware on those and the software.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for 200, excuse me, but for $200, man, yeah. I mean, it's a great deal. And if they ever get the screen sensitivity, so it's just too touchy for me, because if I even think about touching the screen, it seems like it just does something, like I did. It's just very easy for me to misfire on that screen, and
I
can't
came
get
close
into that.
to waiting because for $200 though, that was the ultimate thing that got me. $200, I couldn't pass it up. But I thought about waiting for version 2 because I got to imagine, this is their first shot out the door. Within a year or so, they'll have version 2 out, and it'll be even better. Because I keep going back to, you think about Apple and I guess Samsung too. They must have huge profit margins built into these devices, which is a perfect opportunity for a competitor to come in and undercut them.
Yeah, except I don't think the Fire does.
But it's at $200.
Right.
So I bet you they come up with a improved Fire and a Fire DX or whatever they want to call it. That's a 10-inch or something larger that goes for $399.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a really, not just a big old fat old app store, but they got to have some quality apps, some apps that you can find, So, I mean, and what do they got? They got the Android App Store, right? But do all those apps work on the Kindle Fire? They got to have some quality apps, because if they don't have the quality apps, it's not going to carry them. That's my opinion on it.
I
It might
agree.
be just another nice device that's an also RAM because it just doesn't have the apps.
I bet you Fire 2 comes out with dual core, at least 1.5 gigahertz, two sizes, the current size and maybe a 10-inch, and they continue to improve it and integrate it. And them and Samsung are the two that can compete against Apple on this.
Is the current Kindle Fire not dual core?
No, I don't think it's a dual core.
It's woefully underpowered. But I think that was the intent, right? I think they want, for price wise, they're already kind of breaking even on the thing. It's a purchase machine, right? I mean, it's meant for buying.
Well, how's the battery power compared to like the iPod? I mean, the iPad.
Well, I don't have an iPad, but I have to ask my wife how often she's having to charge it. She's using it quite a bit, but I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, that would be
how much.
interesting to know, real world, what does she have a dock for it, or does she just plug it in?
She just plugs it in. Right, all she has is the little pad that came with it, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, $199. I think it's worth a try if you're not in the tablet space. Rich, to your concern, that is a curated. Amazon's App Store is a curated space. They decide Amazon decides what makes it in there and what doesn't, as opposed to having access to the full App Store.
Oh, okay.
And so this is. The amazing thing about this is I think Amazon is the dark horse in the market, in that we've paid so much attention to Microsoft, Google, Apple, and there's this gigantic retailer. I mean, Amazon is making money hand over fist at this point. They are, they've got a huge, large cash machine, and all of a sudden they're jumping into the tablet space right at the right time. And so, there had been some rumors that, I was reading an article today, since we've talked a lot about this on the show, there had been some rumors that HP had tried to sell the WebOS to Amazon for the $1.2 billion they bought it from Palm, or they bought Palm when they bought Palm. they tried to sell that OS, and of course Amazon said no. I think they're happy and content with Android.
Well, you think about it. You got Android. You got a built-in marketplace already. You just tweak it a little bit for yourself, build your own little thing. But the app's already there. You don't have to go out and encourage developers to build apps for your device. You got them already.
And then you just
there.
take the best apps. You create kind of a process to take the best of Android apps and bring them in, and you've got a pretty nice little space. You're not developing the OS, so you don't have to worry about that. And of course, Google will continue to build that out. I think it's a perfect storm for Amazon in a lot of ways.
I think it is, and I think this is just wave one. That they will. I don't know what's happening here now.
Oh, somebody shared their screen.
Screen. Hang on.
Black hole.
Yeah.
we almost created a singularity there.
Oh my! Oh yeah, we did.
I could feel myself being pulled into the wormhole.
Jeez. I was going to show you an Andec has a tablet specification comparison, and they got the Fire. The Fire, I guess, is a dual core Cortex A9.
Oh, it is a dual core.
Yeah, and the iPad 2 is a dual core Cortex A9, supposedly.
I did not know that.
I thought that processor was underpowered.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
The other thing that Amazon has done is you think about all the Android tablets out there. There's all these Android tablets coming out, and there's really, in my view, and maybe I'm wrong, but two that stand out, and that is the Fire and the Samsung devices.
Galaxy Tab.
The Galaxy Tab.
Yeah.
And I think they have the two different sizes. The Fire, though, is going to set itself apart because of its price. Because while I was standing there getting the Fire, there was person after person. I was still trying to decide. Person after person coming and taking one off the shelf on Best Buy. And I watched, and while I probably saw a dozen people buy a Fire, I didn't see one person buy an Apple iPad, whatever it is, or the Galaxy. I saw their kids playing with it while they were off doing something else. Every iPad there was taken up by a kid playing with it, but everybody was pulling Fires off.
But every kid's mom and dad is getting them a Kindle. Yeah. Hey, for $200, it's a pretty darn nice device. I need it for me. I don't want to spend $200 on something I know is going to aggravate me. I want it to be like, this is a great device for $200. I don't want to be aggravated by the UI or.
If you've already used an iPad or maybe even a Galaxy Tab, going to the Fire may be a disappointment. But if it's your first device, it's not bad.
Well, Rich, and you have there in the window, of course, BlackBerry lowered the price of the Playbook down to $199, and it didn't create any momentum, like the WebOS did when they cut their prices. Now
does it even have a Netflix app on BlackBerry?
I don't
or
even
a Facebook app.
And that's the amazing thing, the black hole that BlackBerry has become.
One of the people at work she showed me, her dad bought her a BlackBerry Playbook, and I said, how do you like it? This is about a month ago. And she's like, oh yeah, it's really great. It's like, I'm good with this, Then I asked her again a couple of weeks later, and she goes, I don't know, one or the other, I'm going to say it was either Facebook or Netflix she couldn't get. Or maybe it was YouTube, one of the three that she couldn't get. It wasn't available to her on the Playbook. That's what she said, so she was a little bit down about it. She wasn't so hot on the Playbook anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think this is the difference between Amazon and where, the direction of BlackBerry. And Amazon's, throws out that same, throws out a device that has very similar specifications on it. And they dropped the price to $199, and not one of them sells. I bet they haven't sold. I bet BlackBerry hasn't sold 10 Playbooks in the United States in the last year. In the last week.
I think everybody just sees them as a dead. They're Kmart. They're going to die a slow death.
Well, but the beauty of the Fire is the Amazon. Is Android, and so it's got a fairly proven OS that's out there, and now Google is touting 750,000 activations a day, some ridiculous number, and I think that's probably a little high. But
the thing that I keep coming back to, and I've been on your show very critical of these guys, but is Microsoft is day after day after day, they're getting their butts kicked,
I know.
and its market has moved so far beyond them.
Yeah.
They're nowhere. By the time they enter the market, we'll be in round 3 of the product cycle, and they're just getting in.
Yeah. 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 No
So
doubt.
they could very well have missed the phone market. They could very well have missed the tablet market.
But you know what, Mike? They'll make more in 1 week of Office sales than Amazon will make in an entire year selling Kindle Fires.
It's true, but I will warn you to
No, I know.
do not
No, I
hang
know.
your hat on a product and
Yeah.
expect it to carry you forever.
Right.
You know, one of the things you make me think about that's like when Apple came out with their, when Microsoft came out with their Windows Phone. You know, like they had some growing pains. You know, it's like, guys, you know, look at what Apple is doing, all the right things that they did, like firmware upgrades and all this stuff. Like, you know, don't go reinvent the wheel, like do the same mistakes. Look at what these guys are and come out with a good product right off the bat. This is what I would like to see. That, you know, if they, you know, let's say come the new year, you know, let's say the Windows 8, you know. Bring that out on the ARM processor. Come out with a nice tablet. Like give us like an iPad type device, like a slim 10-inch whatever tablet. Throw Windows 8 on there. If they come out right out of the chute with a nice form factor and Windows 8 on there, man, I think those things people are gonna be, you know, running in the streets there. It's going to be a fantastic thing. But if they put it on a piece of crappy you know, plastic brick, and it's really slow, and like they've done with the other tablets, you know, I mean they've already, you know, this is whatever, the second or third time that they've been trying to make a, you know, like a tablet type, or what do they call it? They used to call it a slate, you know, and they just didn't get it right. So it's like, now do it right, get some good hardware, put that out there, and then everybody will say, what Kindle Fire, what Android, you know, it's, you know, just the name Windows. You know, and then they know that they can have that and probably port over all their popular apps to it. You know, then
John, are you a Microsoft MVP or something?
Yeah.
You know, let me ask you this, because I'm a Microsoft fan, and I want them to do good, and that's what frustrates me so much. But I'm worried about the whole Metro thing. They got it in their phones. It'd be interesting to see a poll of people and say, does that entice you to buy the phone, or distract you from buying the phone, or are you indifferent? Because me, when I look at it, I still think that looks like an old-timey phone with all those big tiles on there. And you're going to come out with a tablet that's going to do the same thing, and your next OS is going to do the same thing. You know, you wonder if that is a big mistake.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, Mike.
And I'd like to see a poll done by an independent party. No, not Microsoft, not Android, not Apple. Somebody doesn't have an agenda.
Well, if it was revolutionary, wouldn't it just be flying off the shelves?
That's what I'm thinking, is it's not flying off the shelves. And
Yeah.
is it because people only think of Apple and Android, or is that Metro style a distraction? I think the actual phones work pretty well. People who have them seem to like it.
And I saw one in the wild, actually, which I was very surprised. A friend of mine, and I was like, "Is that a Windows Phone?" She's like, "Yeah, I picked this up at the store." I had no idea what she had. It was sold to her, right? And she loved the big tiles, and you know, the People Hub and some of those things that it has. She was like, "I love this phone."
Yeah, it's almost like the like people don't even know like so much, like they're not exposed to it. They're so used to Apple. Then if you tell them Apple, iPhone, oh yeah, you know, like go buy a phone. The iPhone, yeah, that's the only thing the only phone available is an iPhone. You know.
Yeah.
So you know they're used to that.
You know how you overcome that?
How's that?
Tons of marketing. You gotta
but
tell people
Microsoft
about your
is
product.
bad with marketing.
No, they're horrible with marketing. Yeah.
You know.
You know, so here's the coup, guys. I think this is where if Microsoft's going to come back and be a competitor in this space, I think this is the only way it's going to happen. So listen, this is a prediction. 2 years from now, I'll either be proven right or wrong, because I think 2 years from now that they'll have played their strategy out at Microsoft. And that is, if they can create a tablet that has all the same security features and manageability of a Windows device. So today, you cannot manage an iPod or an iPad or an iPhone or any Android device for the most part. You cannot manage that device on any corporate network, right? I mean, you can set some password security things, you can set some restrictions, but you can't limit anything that happens on that device. If Windows can come in with a tablet device that can be managed down to the software, like we manage laptops, and desktops today, the corporations will buy those by the millions.
Yeah.
And that
I agree.
that would race all of a
but
sudden.
That's a big fat
No,
if.
it's a huge if, but I think it's very possible because of the core of Windows 8. I mean, I think that's the beauty. If someone is actually thinking at Microsoft this way, the beauty of having the core is all the security, the internal security that's already built in. I mean, it's 15 or 20 years of security built into the OS that allows that device to be managed. Apple can't do that. And all the CEO has to say is, okay, you can have a tablet on our or the CIO. Oh, you can have a tablet on our network. It's got to be Windows.
Yeah.
Bam.
And I think Nokia is a wild card there too. If Nokia can come out with some really good looking phones and sell some of those too, that could be a wild card too.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't have a lot. I mean, I'm a Microsoft MVP too, and I get discouraged when I think about the future. Although, they've got 10 or 15 years. They do control the OS space, and that's, it's not like the enterprise is going to switch over to iPads in the next 10 years. It's just not going to happen.
It's the funny thing is with our company, our owner is not very technical savvy, but I guess he got his hands on an iPad, and he is an absolute love of the thing, and wants to start getting more of them. And hey, we need to have all of our head people have an iPad. I think we're actually going to go with an Android-based device, but the tablet idea is what he is interested in. And if you look at board directors across the nation, I read somewhere that over half of them now use a tablet device in the board meetings, and that number is expected to explode up into the majority of them doing it.
But Mike, it only takes one incident with an Android device being compromised.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think in those cases I just mentioned, it's still being used as a consumption device and not a production device.
Sure.
So, but as that consumption, there's a lot of uses for that consumption device.
Yeah, no doubt. We're on the verge of a kind of a changeover in the corporate space, and it'll just be interesting to see where it goes. I think Microsoft could pull off a huge coup on this and rocket ahead of everyone else.
They do have a history of letting other people blaze the way and then coming right in, out from under them and stealing the market.
Yeah, they kind of do, and I think we're all kind of hoping they do it here in some regards. But it'd be interesting to see. I think 2 years will tell. I mean, I think by then we'll know.
I'm going to bet against it right here.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to bet against it because of the guy in charge.
I heard on the new Server 8 that they're working on, they say that it's supposed to be really user friendly. Multiple VMs and all this kind of stuff. It's it's gonna be very easy to set up these servers and stuff like that. They're trying to attract more non-technical people, like that. You don't need so much an IT guy that you're holding your breath. It's like, can this guy fix our network problems? We're gonna go down. Like, they really want to make it really easy to get going. So if they're able to kind of bring that that information to, let's say, like a tablet there, and that's it, and the guy just goes, oh yeah, you got a network problem here, I'll click click on your wireless tablet, and everything gets fixed. That'll be incredible to see that happen.
At the same time though, John, everything's moving to the cloud, so you're still, the complexity of the cloud is taking care of some of that. I think we're in for a pretty wild ride, and I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, I love the fact that we've got all these different OSs on the phones. I love, Sarah. We got Sarah an iOS, an iPhone. I've got the Android phone, and I am loving this new Samsung Galaxy S2. It is fast and speedy, and it's dependable, and it's thin, and it's awesome.
Well, I've told you, I've got two people that work for me that got rid of their iPhones and went to the Galaxy 2.
Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing device. I think the hardware finally caught up to the software is what the deal was on that. So I think there's some things coming. I think it's an exciting time. And here at the Home Tech Podcast, we'll be behind it all, right? Couple things that I have been keeping my eye on that didn't show up. We chose not to really do Christmas presents because I think I'm in the same boat. I buy two.
Did you cancel Christmas for the kids?
No, no, just for my wife and I. Just for my wife and I. But I probably should have. No, not really. Just kidding. I got my eye on a Garmin 110 watch, and I do a lot of running, and that Those are down to about $180, which is for those, the watches used to be $300 or $400, and the GPS prices have come way down. And then, I should have pulled the trigger on the Xbox when it was $140, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of waiting to see if that happens again. I would like the Xbox to be the center of our media downstairs, and some of the things that the Xbox is doing is pretty cool as well. And so that one didn't show up. And then a surprise. I told you guys a couple weeks ago, or at least I said it on the show. I had an iPod Nano go under recall, which I'd never heard of an Apple product actually being recalled. But they did recall this one. I sent it in. They sent me a box. I sent it in, and yesterday we got its replacement back, and it was an 8 gig. So I sent in a 2 gig old school Nano, and they sent back an 8 gig touchscreen Nano. The square ones that have a little tiny touchscreen on it. Yeah.
For being a loyal customer.
You like that? And this is an iPod. This is an iPod that was sitting in my junk gadget box. That this stuff's going to recycle, right? That I just hadn't got it to recycle yet. And saw this note on Google Plus that they were doing this recall, and I thought, I wonder if I got one of those, and dug through the junk drawer, and sure enough, we had one. And my middle son's iPod, he uses it all the time. It's been getting real beat up, so we swapped iPod, and there's like a little Christmas present for free. So thanks, Apple. Mike, I know that you're anti-Apple on everything, but they did me right on this warranty return, and I thought that was pretty cool.
You know what somebody should do is run to all the yard sales and buy up all the old apples.
There you go.
I'm telling you.
I'll take that. $5, yeah, no problem. Negotiate $5. Then
eBay.
$10. Yeah, I wonder if
that's a great idea.
that would have been. Oh, I was wondering if the prices on those on eBay went up a little bit. Now that they've started, I wonder if anybody's caught on to that.
I got my kids one of those iPods, but the next version, not the one you had.
Yeah.
The second one. So it's like, it's still like, I don't know how many years old. It's
you were a generation off.
Yeah, it was generation off, man. It's like, damn.
Yeah. Well, it pays to keep up on product recalls, I guess. And that was just one of those flukes. Those almost never work out in my favor. And it was pretty cool. So we gave him, I said, hey, you want to switch? And he was like, yeah. Are you kidding me? And so we switched. Well, we've gone a little bit long. I do want to cover this. I'll cover this one more story, and then we'll kind of wrap it up on this Christmas New Year's edition of the Home Tech Podcast. I saw this article out at Business Insider for a $25. It says this $25 computer, Yes Computer, will be available next month, and it's made by this. It's called Raspberry Pi. Spelled P-I, Raspberry Pi, a bare bones computer the size of a flash drive that costs $25, and it can run. I sent that link in there. Did you guys see this?
I'm looking at it right now.
In the show notes.
Yeah.
700 megahertz processor.
Yes, it's real, and it's coming out next month, according to a new blog post by developers on the Raspberry Pi Foundation website. This little guy runs a stripped-down version of Linux, an open source operating system, and here's the specs: 700 megahertz processor. The iPhone has a 1 gigahertz processor, 800 megs of RAM. The iPhone has 512. They're adding these in just to get you some perspective. You can tell that's not everybody that's a tech, that they're writing this for people who aren't necessarily tech savvy. SD card slot for storage, which is kind of amazing. USB ports and an HDMI port. An HDMI port on this thing that's the size of a flash drive, right? Still packs the punch, although the processor is beefy enough to run Quake 3, a first-person shooter game that has some moderately intense graphics.
And there's a video attached to the link.
Yeah.
And they're showing them running Quake 3, I guess with the HDMI out because it's to the monitor.
This has got to be a hoax, right?
What they're not seeing so far, at least in the video I'm seeing, is they're not actually showing the device.
This has got to be a hoax, right?
Well, I've seen these guys. They were talking about that actually on the podcast for Ian Dixon's podcast, and they brought up that subject. And I think there's like two versions. There's supposed to be a cheaper one and a more expensive one. One has, I think, no network connection, and then the other one does. So there's actually two models. But I could see something maybe like that size doing some 1080p video, because just like the what is it? Those Atom-based. I think you got one, Rich, right? The little Atom-based PC, right? It's got a Neon process. It's got the what's that box you have?
Yeah, it's an Atom processor. Revo?
Yeah, Revo. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so that's, I mean, the Intel processor by itself, it's Intel, right? Intel Atom. Like that processor, like it can't really do video, but then they add another processor, the Ion chip, that guy does the decoding. So
Right.
it's being done by the chip and not by like, the CPU or, through the memory or whatever. So if these guys have like a dedicated chip that'll be doing some video, it's like, sure, why not? I mean, if they can come out with like an Apple TV device that can do video, then I could see one of these things doing video. But I mean, how much memory could you put on there? Some of these guys have their PCs at home and they're trying to run, let's say, some OS, and they're buying $400 video cards, and then 16 or 32 gigs of memory. I don't see. I don't know. You gotta have everything turned off if you're gonna run Quake or Duke or whatever it is on there.
Did you buy one of these?
Duke.
I'd grab one of these just to take a
in a
look at
heartbeat.
it.
Yeah, I'd order it.
$25. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
I
not?
might order get two. Yeah, I mean it's. I'm sure you could find some kind of use for them.
And if you go to their website, they do have some pictures of it. At least the board. They have the board.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, yeah, I'll throw that out there as we'll keep our eye open on these things. This could be an interesting development. And remember those, they were trying to get those laptops for every child type deal out there, and they were trying to get them for $100, and that project really never went anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
A $25 PC? Well, I mean, you have to throw a monitor on.
And a keyboard and a mouse.
Yeah, well, the keyboard and that's the whole thing. Like you said, there, the $100 laptop. That's it. They had to include the monitor in there. They had to include the keyboard, and some keyboards, they were saying some models where it's like you would tap the keyboards and it was rickety rack, all kinds of noise, and then the keyboards, the keys would pop off. So it's like
Here you go.
this is
You're
that's it.
welcome.
At least this guy is just like the motherboard. Yeah.
No, don't thank me. Yeah.
We didn't say it would work.
Or stay together.
Oh, you are so ungrateful. Oh man.
Well, guys, we'll with that we'll call the show a wrap. I do appreciate all three of you coming in on short notice tonight. I know I got to John this afternoon, Mike maybe a half an hour before the show, and Rich like 5 minutes before the show. I was like, hey, we need a couple guys to jump in, and like I said at the beginning of the show, I appreciate you guys and all the folks that have made the Home Tech Podcast a success. Over 2011, we've done 50 plus shows this year. Attracted a bunch of viewers. I really don't know exactly how many that is that come in each week. Hey, speaking of that, if you, it would be good to hear from you. I don't try and spam people with surveys, or I don't spend a lot of time trying to nail down exactly who's listening and spam you with stuff. But you have some suggestions, comments, you like to see us cover some stuff, maybe some special segments. That's kind of how Christian's Corner came to be. Was we got an email from somebody who wanted some more technical stuff, and we created Christian's Corner. In that, send me an email, podcast@theaverageguy.tv, and we'll get those added in. If you got a comment you want to add to it, we sometimes get those read. If you are an aspiring blogger and you just need some place, you want to write one post and put it somewhere, we've got some space for you out at theaverageguy.tv. Just let me know, and we can get it posted out there. Let folks know we do broadcast live every Thursday evening. I had to remember which podcast I was on. Every Thursday evening.
You're on too many.
7 Central, yes. Yeah, that's for sure. 7 Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. And we post the show live each week out at theaverageguy.tv. Gentlemen, have a great New Year. I won't talk to you before January 1st. I'm heading out of town, and actually we'll be shut down and fairly disconnected for the next couple of days. So I will. So you say. Let's see if it's true. You're probably right. I'll find a way to get some Wi-Fi. I'm actually hoping to do a little bit of writing. I'm going to spend some time. My dad's in the hospital, and I'll probably spend quite a bit of time just sitting in there with him. And I'm hoping to get some writing done as he's snoozing in between his naps. So maybe I'll jump online. Hopefully the hospital will have a little bit of Wi-Fi. And,
or you can use a hotspot on your Galaxy Samsung.
I probably should. I probably should get that all set up. I haven't, Mike, to be honest. I really haven't messed with the Wi-Fi stuff on my phone too much, and I probably should. But most Wi-Fi is getting pretty common just about everywhere. It'll give me a good excuse to sneak out to Starbucks. and I can never have enough Starbucks. So thanks, guys. We'll call this a wrap, and we'll do it all again next week. And that's it for the Home Tech Podcast. See you next week.
Happy New Year's, everybody.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
I just had somebody from Brisbane, Australia, go to my site.
Isn't that crazy to watch that?
It's Rennie.
It could be. It could
be Rennie. Yeah.
Although it says new. It says it's a new person.
Oh, cool. Maybe he's coming from downtown Starbucks.
I'm interested. I've seen this Henderson, which I think is Henderson, Nevada. I've seen this Henderson, Nevada show up a couple times tonight. Is that somebody in chat? Anybody in Henderson or near Henderson? And I know I see Jay from Phoenix.
Where's Greg coming from?
Greg, where are you located?
And then I saw other Jim was out there. Who was other Jim?
A smattering of home server show guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey guys, I'm running SSD caching on my Z68 board.
Oh, it must be Greg that I see Henderson there. Say it again, Rich.
I'm running SSD caching on my Z68 board. I'm running it with I can't tell what it is. I think it's an Hitachi 320 gigabyte. And I got to tell you, this is how one of my benchmarks, just roughly. When I boot up, if the network comes up like right away and I can get online, like pretty much within about 3 or 4 or 5 seconds of the desktop showing.
Oh shoot, I forgot. I didn't see your note there about that.
That's okay. That to me is a pretty fast indicator, because it's nowhere as fast as that when you've got a regular spinning drive. It's just much slower.
You got that from Tinker guy?
Well, I mean, I did, but I mean, I knew about it from listening to PC Doc, and I went and checked out. I actually did read his post about it, but it wasn't really that hard to get going. You do have to start from scratch because it's going to create some kind of a RAID sort of configuration. But it wasn't bad. What do you got, Mike? Well, you
remember was it with you guys that I was talking about my drive that went bad? And
Yeah.
Okay, so the very next day I looked at it. It was not what is the Western Dish? It was a Seagate.
Oh, okay.
So I looked up how do you return Seagate. So it's still under warranty, but they want you to run C-tools on the thing and get their code. Well, now this is a drive that was so bad I couldn't even format it. It took it like a week to get the data off of it, what I could off of it from my Unraid, and then I tried to format it. My computer wouldn't format.
Yeah.
So to stick it into C-tools, runs perfect. I can't get it to do anything. Everything I've run the long test 5 times.
You mean it's? Yeah. Can you format it?
I can format it now. I can write stuff to it. I run the C-tools.
Good job, Mike.
I've run the C-tools long test on it 5 different times. It runs hours and it runs perfect. Like dadgum stupid thing. I can't trust this drive though.
No.
But I can't get this. So it's working good now.
Yeah, but I can't trust this thing.
How's the smart data look? Oh, peachy. Run something else on it, like Crystal Disk Info. What does the smart data look like, so you can actually get a proper readout?
Yeah, I need to do something to stress this thing out so it gives me an
answer. You gotta.
Well, you know what? Somebody would tell you to run SpinRite on it. It's probably not a bad idea to run something like a SpinRite. That's kind of like a burn-in trite
That's
test.
what I need to do. Run SpinRite for a week.
Yeah, do it. Do it, man.
Cause that thing to fail.
Hey, are you an Amazon Prime guy?
Isn't everybody an Amazon Prime guy?
Well, let me tell you. I am. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait.
I was.
It's not so much funny when Jim's not listening.
Well. Jim, pay attention. We're going to talk about Amazon Prime. I was for 3 days. Listen. I joined for like a month, right? The free trial, so I could get free shipping on something, but I planned on canceling it. Well, I forgot.
Nothing's working for Jim. He's tapping something. Uh-oh, what has he done?
He's asleep.
Did you hear what I said?
I'm sorry. You were an Amazon Prime guy for 3 days?
Well, I joined it so I could get free shipping on something, right? Free month trial, and I says, well, I'll just cancel this. Well, Christmas time, I forgot. I lost track. Next thing you know, I got a notice in the mail. Hey, congratulations, welcome. We just took $79 from you, and it's like, okay, you're a member now. And I'm like, oh, dang, I just chucked out $80 and I didn't plan on doing that. I got it back. They said, if you haven't used it, you haven't done anything, you haven't done any shipping or anything else that's associated with that account, we can refund your money. So I says, well, refund me. And they sent me back an email saying, yeah, in a couple of days, it should show up back in your account. So
very good.
Very cool. That is very cool.
So there are two people in the world who are not Amazon Prime members now, you and Jim.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I was.
I felt that coming.
I was, so.
Hey, does my audio sound different right now than it did during the show?
I don't think so.
No, sounds
the same.
You weren't coming from your webcam the whole show, were you?
Yes, I was.
Are you kidding me?
No. Well, at least that's what. So I muted my mic and Rich was talking. So I muted it and I was talking to Sarah, and I heard Rich stop, and I'm like, oh, that can't be good.
We didn't hear you talking to Sarah though.
No, because I went back. I went over to the machine and muted it from Google. Right.
Well, here's the thing. You were sitting back like 2 feet from your microphone. So, I mean, I can hear you coming through your microphone now, but you were sitting back here during the podcast talking back here. So, I mean, I don't know where it was coming from.
Yeah. It didn't sound that bad, though. It sounded okay.
I thought it sounded all right. Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. I was like, oh, crap. I've done that before. When we switched over to Google, I didn't verify, Google Hangout. I didn't verify that the default settings would be that the microphone would come, through this microphone and not that one. I've done that before, and I did it on a Spartan radio podcast, and I got done and I was listening to the playback, and I'm like, ladies, why didn't you tell me I was coming through my camera mic? And they're like, oh, you sounded fine, and I could hear it. And I was like, oh crap! You hate to do a whole podcast and then be coming through the wrong mic, especially when you got this rig.
I think that's a ladies thing. Your wife's out there, so maybe she can, if she's still out there.
She's not listening.
Oh, because my wife, I'll come in and say, why are you watching football on the standard definition channel? Go to the high def channel. She goes, I can't tell a difference. Well, you can't tell a difference.
I paid $2,000 for that difference.
What do you mean you can't tell a difference? One is blurry, the other one is super sharp. How can you not tell a difference? I'll switch over. She goes, yeah, I guess that is a little better.
A little bit better? Yeah, like $25 better. What'd you pay for that kit? Oh my God, you got ripped off. Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah,
thanks for the affirmation, honey.
That's a little disturbing to me when I do a whole podcast and it was coming out of my microphone, or it's coming off the webcam.
Jim, it sounded. I don't think it was.
I don't think it was.
I think you're. Yeah, and I don't think it was either.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, good.
I think you just stepped into a kind of a black hole here. And
maybe just it was just weird because I shut it off, I muted it, and you could still hear me, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And so when I started snapping in front of the camera, I could see it, So I'm snapping in front. Well, let's see. I guess it's this one. Yeah. Okay.
So this is almost the Yeti Club again. We just have.
Yeah, we're back. John. We're back. We got to get Johnny. We got to get somehow. I have to take up another.
Yeah, no. Did too much already.
All right, John. Meet me at Fort Kent. I'll bring you.
Yeah, I was telling Jim last time was saying, how far is Rich from you? I says, yeah, because I said I'm about an hour and a half from the U.S. border.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm not that far. And I says, Rich is probably, maybe another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
What part of, how far are you from any part of Maine, the closest part of Maine?
Let me pull up the Google Maps.
All right, you do that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to ask Mike something here. What's this craft vending machine thing here? What was that?
What? I'm sorry, what?
What's that craft vending machine thing that detects your age?
Oh, isn't that cool? It's I think it's probably more of a gimmick, but it's something that I think Intel is doing, where they're using some kind of technology to guess the age and then suggest products based upon the age. So this vending machine is a craft vending machine given like pudding or whatever it is, and it was saying you're a kid, enjoy this indulgence, so you don't get it, and it's given an error. There's a little video if you go to the link. But I think that's more a publicity stunt for both Kraft and for in a test for Intel.
Oh, okay. All right.
And with the ultimate goal of maybe using that technology to suggest devices based upon age detection and other things like that.
That is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I might go back to Amazon Prime at some point. It just hit me at the wrong time. It's like, hey, funds are a little tight right now. Why don't you just take $80 now that I'm not thinking about, lost track of it, and $80 goes out of the account without me paying attention to it, and it made it a little bit tight for a little bit for a couple of days.
Rich, it made me think about.
Yes, I am still here.
I got the same note on my server. Are you still here? See, it's just popped up. You can see the. I guess I need to click on that. Wish they'd extend that to about 2 hours instead of just one. Yeah. So I looked on Skype and I thought, hey, we bought that, Dave and I think Rich, you pitched in, or no, Brian Burgess pitched in for the group chat on Skype.
Okay.
It was $80, and so we all pitched in, $25 and bought it last year. And so it's coming due, and they want $102 for it this time.
Oh, that's nothing.
Skype.
A mere pittance for lousy service.
That's all the money I made off Google AdSense last year.
Well, at least you broke even.
So for the group chat capability, the video chat. So another reason, it's due February 2nd. So another reason in the month of January for us to completely switch over to Google Hangout.
Yeah, I've got to encourage my guest to move over there. All us hosts, the three hosts, we all do that. And if it's just the three of us on the show, we'll use Google Plus.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, what I did, I'm speaking to the microphone.
Now I don't hear you at all.
No, you just died.
Can't hear me now?
No, we can hear you. It was just one of those little fades,
little blips.
internet fades.
Yeah. So I bought a audio extension cable, right? So
for this?
So I actually run that up off the microphone and down, right? And then
so I don't have this.
Yeah.
Down the arm. Well, that's what I got.
Right down the arm and then out across the table, and so that takes away, and then it just plugs in.
Yeah, that's good because I got this for Christmas.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, did you get that on a recommendation, or is that just a total fluke that?
No, I have. Here's what my wife bought me everything. I just did an Amazon wish list, and that was in my wish list, and she just bought several things out of that.
Did you put it on your wish list because I'd been talking about them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
How do you like them?
Well, I'm wearing them a little different tonight. They feel good. I like not having the bigger thing. It's a great idea you guys had, so I don't have this hanging here.
Yeah. It kind of gets that out of the way.
Yeah. I got to do some more rearranging and neating up in here. And just...
Isn't it funny how it's always like it never ends? You get one thing nailed down, you're like, oh, I gotta.
Well, I think like you, I have different issues, but my server's having some issues, and I need to work those out.
Yeah, I need to spend some time
maybe this long
my
weekend.
network cards. Yeah,
I
was hoping to this weekend.
But...
Now, what is that?
So what this is called an 80-20 bounce. 80% of the light comes up through here, 20% bounces forward, and you stick that. This is what I didn't want to show during the regular thing. It was much more enticing to a photographer. You stick that on your hot shoe flash. It goes up here.
Yeah. Oh.
And then you can stick all kind of things in here, like a gold, to create different lights.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's funky.
It's only like $19. It's really cheap.
Wow. What's that made out of? That white thing looking thing?
This thing?
Yeah, so plastic?
It's just like, it's a hard plastic, I guess.
Okay.
And that just fits right on the...
Well, it won't fit. It won't fit normally because there's nothing to do it. But I have this little $6 Velcro strip. That this side of it is just like a rubber.
Yeah.
And you just wrap that around this, and it's Velcro's on the outside, and that way it'll kind of grab to it, but it's not a permanent sticky grip. And then this just sticks on that, so it's really fast and cheap.
Wow. Do they have really expensive things for that as well? That do that exact same thing?
Not really, not that good. Before this little $6 strap, you would go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy real Velcro with the sticky stuff on it, and stick that around your flash, and then now your flash has sticky stuff forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh. All right.
Which one of mine does?
How many flashes do you have?
I have two like this. This is the Nikon one, and then I have two older ones.
How many do you need?
Depends on what you're doing. Some people use. If you're doing a big shoot, which I never do, I'm not a pro like that. I've seen people use 30 or 40 of them. But you're going to have to be making some money because
30 or 40?
30, 40 what?
of these.
That's the flash.
Yeah, and the Joe. If you ever look up Joe
Really?
McNally, he uses a ton of these things. And just to give you a perspective, the new ones. Now this is an SB 800. The new ones go for $550. I think I paid like $350 for this.
Wow. So why would you need so many? Just because?
Well, for one thing,
Charge?
if you go take your picture at a studio, they have the big, soft, big umbrellas and all that kind of stuff. Those are hooked up to the power outlet and producing a lot of light. These little things are running off batteries, connect on your camera. You can take them off, and use them remotely, and they don't have as much power. So if you're wanting to create more power and all these different angles of light, you need a bunch of them.
Oh, I see.
But you're gonna have to be really, also not only spend a crap load of money, but
You spend a crap load of setup time, don't you?
setup time and know what you're doing. Every additional light you add adds another complexity.
Yeah, shadows, cross
that
shadows.
are way beyond what I can do. I struggle with the one.
I just saw one of the guys on Google Plus, one of the podcasters. I think it's one of the ones I pulled off a list of yours, and he posts quite a bit. He just redid his studio, and he had a bunch of LED lights that were pointing the opposite way and bouncing off stuff, and he put in those big white umbrella lights. I'm gonna be doing
one umbrella light. I have an umbrella already, and I'm gonna set all my LEDs to point through that one umbrella.
Yeah. And that's kind of how he's lighting a studio.
Now, have y'all ever looked up Keith Barrett?
Might have been Keith.
Because what Keith does is I don't know if he has his own show, but he hosts shows for a bunch of other podcasters. So he hosts some for Trey Ratcliffe and some other people, and I guess he just has great bandwidth. And I think he's using Justin TV.
This Peter McDermott is the one I was.
Okay.
I
need to look him up. Peter McDermott.
Let me verify.
I used to listen to a podcast called the Frugal Brothers. The guy was an older guy in his 50s. He does gray-haired guy. He did some podcasts about Windows like server and stuff like that. And
you got a problem with people in their 50s with gray hair, John?
No, he's like an older guy, and he's doing a podcast. He knows a little about he knows computers and stuff like that. Well, I mean, he's probably later. I'm coming over there. So he uses Justin TV.
Yeah, Jim, you still there?
Yeah.
Can you put a link in the? Do you have a link to him?
I'm looking it up right now. Here it is. Let's see.
John, I've thought about, and I think I set up a Justin TV account because I thought, what would happen if something happened to the live stream and we weren't able to use that?
Mm-hmm.
So I've started setting up a Justin TV thing just in case something that happened to. What is that? Chocolate pie?
Piece of pie, meat pie, maybe.
Meat.
I threw that in the chat, Mike. That's
okay.
his. That's his. Rich. That's his profile.
Is he a podcaster?
I think so.
Okay, I'm going to add him to my podcast circle.
Comfort food.
But John, I'm setting up a Justin TV account just in case something happens to the live stream.
I think I've got one already.
And I asked Keith why he uses Justin over live stream, and I think he just likes it better. I don't know if there's any. I think he said he thought the video quality was better there, but I haven't seen a big difference in his video quality.
They all look the same when you go to them. They look like they're all owned by the same person. It's just skinned a little bit different. Ustream, Justin TV, all that live stream. They all look real similar.
Yeah.
Who was telling me you can log on with I'm sorry, John. Who was telling me you could log on and do a Google Hangout with an iPod or an iPhone, a Google iPod.
I did one with the Android phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
I've also heard somewhere that while you can only have 10 people in one of these Hangouts, unlimited people can watch it. Now, of course, they can watch it here because we're streaming it. But is there some other way for people to watch this?
I don't know if that
I've not
feature's
heard that.
available yet, Mike. I think they're talking about for a limited being able to do that. I think that's coming.
Because maybe I heard that from one of Leo Laporte's podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn on my phone here one sec. You guys can see the video coming from my phone. Just one sec.
Crazy.
I'm gonna mute my mic because I'll get the wormhole effect. Just a sec.
Where are you going to come in? And so you're going to try to come in on...
On his
Yeah,
phone,
I'm gonna come in on my phone.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm looking too.
All right, hold on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Commented on my
here's
link.
the link
Oh,
I
my
got.
link
Frugal
got
Brothers.
Sopa.
See, this guy he uses Justin TV, and he used to have like a show. See, if you look at his site, like he has a lot of embedded videos.
Wait a minute, how do I get on here?
I'm just gonna get a job for Sopa, and I'm
I
gonna be
think I'm logged in, so how come I don't see the invite?
7 secrets your boss won't tell you.
What would those be? Why I'm not giving you a raise? Those are great secrets.
They are practical business, personal reasons.
SOPA.
Number 1, watch how you handle success and failure. Number 2.
So can you see me down there?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming from my phone.
Nice.
The audio quality isn't great.
The audio sounds just like a Yeti.
Absolute exact same quality, yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, no, the audio, of course, is not as good, and the video's not quite as good.
Yeah, but it has similar, and I'm getting an echo. Hold on. I was getting an echo. You know, 'cause
Are
they
you
was
doing 4G or
listening to me coming back around.
are you using
Turn this
4G
up.
or 3G or Wi-Fi? What's it coming?
I'm Wi-Fi. Oh, wait a minute.
How come I'm
No, I
not
was
seeing
3G.
the invite?
Okay. Well, I guess that's not bad for 3G.
I'm signed. How come I don't see the invite on my phone? I mean, I'm signed in. You know, I'm looking at my tech friends and all that stuff, so I know it's me that's signed in. I'm looking down to see this Hangout. I don't see the... Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I guess I need to read. Rich needs to learn to read. It says Hangouts require a front-facing camera.
Yeah.
Well, what
Yeah,
the heck? Can't I just turn the thing
yeah.
around? Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
But it's kind of cool because on the software, it shows in red. You know, it's got. My phone keeps slipping down. I've got all the pictures of everybody in the Hangout across the top, and whoever's speaking is in.
In red.
And yeah, it's well, I think
Yeah.
everybody's green except you, Rich. You're in red.
That's because I am possessed.
Yeah. So whoever was speaking is in red. And then I'm getting the same video feed that you guys are getting. You getting any echo from the phone?
No. Nope. It
No, but it
sounds.
just sounds like you're in a toilet. Not that I've
Yeah.
No, John. No. It doesn't sound like he's in a toilet. It sounds way better than that. Way better than that. The notable Martis Toilet podcast effect.
What? I mean, it sounds like you're on a speakerphone.
Yeah, but you know what? It's definitely a doable audio for sure.
if you
Like if you were phoning in and you needed to be on a podcast and you needed to use your iPhone to phone in, do
But
it.
you could get headphones and a mic and plug it into your phone.
I think he's doing that right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna improve.
Let's see. Hook your Yeti up to it. Here's my iPhone. Wait, where's my?
Why is it smoking?
Here's my small phone and large Yeti.
Yeah, my.
Trust me,
Had
I
to
would
bring
if
a
I could.
suitcase.
How's that sound?
That sounds better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
good.
I don't like it as much because I can't hear the audio come back through that.
Yeah.
You know, so you sound after doing a podcast like this for an hour, I just go out of my mind.
You sound fine.
But it sounds okay, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see, how would I hook the Yeti up to it?
Well, the Yeti needs USB.
I've got micro USB on the bottom.
I think you
Yeah.
can get a Yeti that's actually XLR.
Oh, no.
So then it's just a matter of finding an adapter to get it down to a mini plug or whatever.
I think I'd find another solution.
You wouldn't
Oh,
do that, huh?
oh.
No.
But, I could see myself, tomorrow in the car with the phone, in a holder on the dash, and you could be having hangout. Whoa!
Hands free.
Yeah.
Watch out for that deer.
And then when you get in your car accident, you just explain, I was just podcasting,
Yeah.
officer.
Why wouldn't you be podcasting from your car?
Yeah, everybody does that, right?
Hmm.
Multitasking. Hey.
Did you lose your other hand?
All right, man. I got other stuff I got to work on. I got to reboot my PC. So,
All right, John.
if I don't hear from you guys, Happy New Year and see you next year.
Did they get New
Happy
Year's
New
up
Year,
in
John.
Canada?
Yeah, we got it.
You
Okay.
have New Year's there too?
6 hours before you guys. Take care, guys. Bye.
Hey, John.
Bye, John. Good to see you. Wow, what a treat. Podcasting with you three guys. That was fun. That was very cool.
Good. Thank you guys for doing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
No problem, no problem.
yeah, glad I was here. And you know what? I'm kind of lucky. We're both lucky because, I just got up and I was just watching a movie, and I was thinking about throwing another movie on, but I got up for a second to check something on the computer, and it's like, oh, look at that, a message from 5 minutes ago.
What were you watching?
The hell was I watching? I was watching
Debbie.
Oh,
Does Canada. No, what the heck was the name of it? It's the new Jake Gyllenhaal source code. Kind of.
I've seen that. Yeah, that's where
It's kind of weird. I mean, it's
the
okay.
guy on a train. That's when the guy's on a train.
Yeah, kinda
Yeah,
okay.
that was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I like that kind of stuff, but I just thought, I'm stepping back and going, oh, this is kind of weird. But you like this stuff, Rich. Why? It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who's not into it will look at that and go, what the hell, You have
Well,
to really suspend belief, but we
Exactly,
want to
that's
do
what
that
it's
because we're techs,
That's what I was about to say. You have to divorce yourself from, could this really happen?
Right, and because we're techies, we will, we fall for that stuff. We get into that much more easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was decent. I also have Atlas Shrugged, which is a book that I was supposed to have read when I was a teenager, but I don't think I even knew what the hell that book was about back then.
my kids have read that book.
And I didn't even know how to say her name until a few years ago. Ayn Rand. I thought it was Anne Range or something like that. I thought they just screwed up the name Anne. So, yeah, boy, it's been busy over here.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's actually very, very useful.
Yeah.
That right there. I mean, I could do with the right connection. You could
It's
do
doable.
a podcast. Yeah, you absolutely could. You could come in remote that way.
If you got a nice Wi-Fi, and I think I'm going to give you the feedback that I didn't think those earbuds, that headphone set, was quite as good as it could be. I thought it was a little bit muted. The highs weren't quite as crispy as it was just when you were talking into your regular iPhone. Even though we had the background, we had because your iPhone's over here, you get the room ambience, right? Reverberation.
You mean on my phone, on the Android?
On your Android, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
on your Android, yeah, on iPhone, Android.
Don't insult me with calling my phone.
Yeah, do not.
So
Come on, Rich.
I'm so sorry.
No, okay. So I'm sorry, I got distracted because you said iPhone. So the sound was better when it was open.
It
as
was.
opposed to-
It had more. It sounded like to me it had more a full range, even though it wasn't very good. If you would have brought it up to your face, like you would, then it probably would have been halfway decent. But because you had it way back here, you got the room sound, right?
Right.
Right. So
And the washer is running at the moment, and so probably.
yeah, it
picked
wasn't
up
so
some of
much that.
background.
It was just kind of the ambience of the room, like the echo or the reverberation of the room, whatever you want to call it.
All right, I need to go.
You need to.
Yeah, we'll kill it. Mike,
Yeah.
thanks a ton. I just got a note from Andrew. He's in Sydney. He totally forgot. He was like, "Oh, it's Friday." he's all out.
All out of whack. Yeah.
He's all out of whack. So yeah. Thanks a
All right,
ton.
guys.
I actually need to run. I'm going to try and get this produced and out yet tonight, so that I don't have to think about it over the weekend. So.
Well, good
Okay,
luck.
fellas.
See you.
Excellent.
Thanks, gents. Talk to you later.
All right. Happy New Year's.
That they're not breaking the law. You can watch entire films on these certain things. I love how somebody posted a video against